What's up, guys? Regiment in this podcast is brought to you by G Fuel, the ultimate energy drink for gamers. G Fuel uses a special blend of vitamins, antioxidants, and other natural caffeine resources to keep you from having those jitters or even that crash that you normally would have from other energy drink brands. So whether you're having a long gaming session or you're just having a long day and need a pick-me-up, G Fuel definitely has you covered. G Fuel also has a wide array of flavors to choose from. But if you don't know what flavor you want to try, they also sell variety packs on their website, and they even come with a cool shaker. So head on over to gfuel.com and use promo code REGIMENT at checkout to get up to 30% off. That is REGIMENT, promo code REGIMENT down here at checkout to get up to 30% off. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of The Barracks Party. Today, we are joined with our outdoors director, Justin. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Good. You're our outdoors director. You have a lot of things that you have to say with some of the outdoor stuff that's upcoming. I also want to talk to you about some outdoor ideas that I have. And I don't know if Blake is an outdoorsy boy.
Yeah, it can be.
Yeah, it can be. You know,
depends on what's going on. If you make plans, I'll do it.
It's one of them things, dude. Like being in the military really makes you not want to be outdoors anymore, especially if you were like in an infantry job or a combat MOS where you're just like sleeping in the suck all the time. And people are like, why do you choose to go hiking and camping? And I'm like, because I don't have to do it because the Army told me to. I do it because I get to, and I can actually be comfortable and do this. I don't have to be miserable. Just like with hiking, like I can actually get like a custom hiking pack. Costs a lot, but you don't even feel like you're wearing anything. And you can have a jam pack. That's what I took to Norway. It was fucking great. It was great.
It's a lot more fun when you can have a fire and a tent and
or you can go
at
your own.
good.
You can go at your own pace and see things the way you want to see them, and just enjoy yourself. But anyway, Justin, so tell us a little bit about yourself. Like you were what, Army?
I was Army. Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude. What were you?
I started off in the reserves and I hated every second of it. Had to spend 6 drills before they would give me a conditional release to active duty.
Really? 6?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
so 6 drills, so that's like 6 months.
Yeah. So you do 6 drills and then they'll give you a conditional release to active duty. It's one of those where you showed up to work and you're like, everybody's like, I don't want to be here. I have better things I could be doing. So I was like, this is not for me. So I went to active duty, was 74 Delta, which is chemical operations, was 92 Yankee, which is supply, 92 Alpha, which is logistics. And that's where I ended at good old Fort Bragg Airborne.
Yeah. Or as they call Fort fucking Liberty.
Fort Bragg.
It'll never be Fort Liberty to me. It's always, I say this in every article we've ever read that says Fort Liberty, formerly known as Bragg. I'm like, it's fucking Bragg, dude. It's Bragg. Stop calling it anything else. You know? Wait, so were you?
They're actually some of the bases are going to roll back the name changes.
Oh, they need to. They fucking need to. Some of the iconic ones, like there's those few bases where like nobody fucking knows. That are like they got name changes. It's like who gives a shit? But bases like Bragg, Fort Bragg has been Fort Bragg since it became Fort Bragg. It doesn't make sense what I just said.
Yeah.
But like to everybody else, it's just like it recently changed its name because everyone's like, it was a Confederate general because he changed the name because he was a Confederate. It's like, and now everything's like, why do we care about this? This is bullshit. This is stupid. But yeah, so you were a paratrooper, I take it. Or were you
I was airborne, yeah.
I was gonna say, were you one of them legs that was just attached to an airborne unit?
No, I got an airborne slot.
We had a lot of those at the 173rd. Like we had a lot where you have these legs that are attached to an airborne unit. Yeah, oddly enough, the NPs were some of them. And a few of the other, you got the Signal Battalion. They were all legs. And it was just like, why are you here? Like, why are you here?
I've always loved hearing the term legs. Like you're not about to jump out of a fucking plane and destroy your knees and then walk on them.
Oh, so yeah, right.
What knees?
What knees, man?
Exactly.
My knees are fucked. My knees are fucked. My back is fucked. Arthritis, concussions, all that good shit. So,
Mm.
how long did you do active duty for?
10 years.
Jesus, did you real? So like how? So you were reserves for 6 months and then you did 10 years active duty.
Well, 9.5 technically, but yeah.
So like when did you get out?
2010.
Oh, you got out like a couple years before I went in. You've been out for a minute.
Yeah, I went through 3 uniform changes. I was in BDUs, ACUs, and OCPs.
Yeah, for deployment, I take it.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I remember when we switched, straight up switched out of the ACUs. Like, so in 2015 is really when they started rolling it out, when they decided it was like 2014, 2015, because Ukraine started. And they were like, hey, we really are going to just get rid of the ACU pattern. They were talking about it. They didn't know what they were going to do. And they were looking at just switching straight up to what multicam. Yeah. And apparently there was like a big contract issue with multicam where they were just like, they wanted to charge a lot of money. But you know how the Army is, man. They go to the lowest bidder. So then they just got this Scorpion stuff, and it was like, it looked exactly the same. So we were like, what the fuck is the difference? So they issued us all OCP and said, just wear it. Don't wear anything else. And that started because when we first went to Ukraine, we got made fun of by other NATO countries that were also helping us train them. They're like, we can see you for like a mile away, right? And it's like, yeah, I know. It's fucking ridiculous. The ACU pattern was like, I have no idea who thought that was a good idea at all. Blake, do you know what pattern I'm talking about?
I do.
The gray digitals that fucking only blended in the grandma's couch or a pile of gravel, and everything else, it fucking stuck out like a gray and white sore thumb. It was just fucking the worst.
Somebody at the Pentagon was sitting at their grandmother's house like, I wish I wasn't here right now. Oh, that's a great idea for a pattern.
Fucking basically, yeah. I wonder what the actual reason why we picked that. I know it started off because the Marines went digital first.
Mm-hmm.
And the Army was like, digital looks cool, but we don't want to look like the Marines. What's a pattern that we can separate it from the Marine Corps? And they picked that bullshit. Why was the Marine Corps
has their specific one patented? So you got like little EGAs, little tiny ones like Where's Waldo all over your fucking camis.
Well, at least it wasn't the tiger stripes.
Yeah,
like the Navy had. The Navy had those tiger stripes.
Oh, you mean the Air Force?
Was it the Air Force? Has tiger stripes?
So the
Navy had
the powder blue boots.
So like so they had like the kind of powdered bluish green boots and the tiger stripe digital pattern, which looked stupid as fuck. And then the Navy decided, like, you know what, we're gonna go digital too, and they picked black and blue digital.
Dumbest idea, dude.
And because like, on one hand, it's like, you know what, for them it makes sense, but at the same time, it's not a good idea because if someone falls overboard, they're gone.
Man overboard, where?
Where? He blends in with the ocean. I can't see him. It's like, we're gonna make you blend in with the water even more.
He's for the seas now.
We had a no shit man overboard one time while I was on ship, and we were sitting around for like 2 hours after they got accountability, and they're just still doing the man overboard every like 5 minutes over the speaker. And we're like, dude, this motherfucker's dead by now. Like, he's gone. To find out, someone like dropped their spitter off the side of the ship, and someone else saw it at the corner of their eye and thought it was a fucking person.
That's a very big difference between a body splash and a spitter.
I know.
Like, that person's a fucking moron, dude. Like, you really thought that someone's spitter was a person? How? How?
I don't know. They just saw something fall and assumed it was a human being, and then just pulled the alarm for it. Fucking, we were just sitting around for 2 hours, and we're like, dog, this dude's gone. And the water was cold as fuck.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, so if that guy was actually, if someone was really overboard, they were dead. They were gone. 100% gone.
100%.
I'm trying to figure out, like, why the Army picked the fucking gravel gray ACU pattern. There's a lot of conflicting reasons of why Who is the general that selected the ACU digital camo pattern, and why is he not in jail? This is a Reddit post. So like, no, it even says, I never found a situation where that pattern was good, maybe in a rock quarry, but Afghanistan, it stuck out. Yeah, that obviously makes sense. I'm curious. I remember reading an article, and I cannot remember where I saw it. It was something along the lines where it was a hasty decision to pick that because it was digital. All the other patterns that were being offered were not. But because the Marine Corps went digital, some Army general was like, well, we can't have the Marines be fucking digital and we're not. They're the future. So, but we also don't want to have the same pattern as them because it's confusing. So we're going to go ahead and go with this one digital pattern that was offered. Like, can you imagine what multicam looked like if it was digital?
I love that it's confusing, but now like everyone but the Marines and Navy are wearing the same fucking camo, pretty much.
Oh, yeah, yeah. See, then
It's like, dude, just pick one.
and then the Navy switched from like fucking blue and black to like green, brown, like aqua looking green,
Mm-hmm.
like
It's
evergreen.
like a light green.
And it's like, okay, so that, I mean, I guess it's better, but
I want to know what the Taliban thought the first time they saw that army uniform. Like, I'm willing to bet someone was sitting there and
Easy
looked,
target.
and he was like, "What the fuck are they? Like, they know we can see them, right?"
it's like, and I can tell you what they thought. They're like, oh, that's the Americans. Hey, send a fire mission that way.
Shoot
That's
'em.
exactly what.
Well, I love the search result that I got, right? And it's got me wondering. It says the ACU operational camouflage pattern was chosen after the Army conducted extensive testing. And I'm like, who was testing it?
That's
Helen
a
Keller?
lie. That's a lie.
Had to be.
Extensive
Had to
testing.
be.
Were
That's a
they
f-
blind?
That's a fucking
They-
lie.
They put it through a fucking computer one time and said, "Yep, computer says good," and then shipped it out.
Oh, it's Chat GPT's fault.
God, nowadays, you could totally chat GPT. Hey, chat, can you come up with a good camo pattern? Give me an idea. So obviously you were at the height of everything. So I take it you got several deployments under your belt.
Iraq and Afghanistan, yeah.
Do you have a mustard stain?
Sometimes. Oh, what?
A mustard stain? You didn't do a combat jump? When did you join? What year did
No,
you
I
join?
did not do a combat jump. I joined in 2000.
Oh, you didn't do a combat jump?
Support.
Oh,
Mm-mm.
when did you go? Did you like go active duty as airborne or no?
Yes.
And you didn't jump
Nope.
in. That's crazy.
Nope.
Wow, that's actually very surprising. I thought they fucking made everybody jump for that one.
Nope. Not support.
Damn, dude. I'm sorry.
one less damage sector to my knees.
Hey, I mean, yeah, that's true. I know a guy that has so honestly, no, a combat jump and the mustard stain, this guy had 2 combat jumps in 2 theaters. So he had like, I forgot what that looks like on your wings. We call it a mustard stain, Blake, just so you know, like, so for airborne, when you do have a combat jump, you get like a gold star on your airborne wings, and it looks, and we call it a mustard stain. There was a guy that when I was on the 173rd, he had a combat jump in Iraq and Afghanistan. And I was like, so what? Did you just leave Iraq immediately and go to Afghanistan? And he was like, pretty much. He was only in Iraq for a short amount of time, and then they got switched on the next deployment. Was like the first deployment to Afghanistan. They jumped in, and it was like a random jump. They didn't even need to do it. They just did it because they wanted to fucking have a combat jump.
Like, fuck it, do it.
It was just fucking do it. Because we already had guys there, and they just I don't know why they decided to do a fucking jump in Afghanistan, but it was like he said it was like stupid. It was the dumbest thing ever, but it was like technically a combat jump, even though it was like they weren't really doing much besides that. They were just doing it for fucking accolades at that point.
Some general said, let's get a combat jump in.
Hey, honestly, if I was on that jump, I'd be like, I'm not going to argue with it. Cool.
Yeah, let's go.
I'll take it, thanks. More chest candy, I like it.
Chest candy. Yay. You all know how the officers reap the rewards from the enlisted. It's fucking success. All right. So You didn't start off as the outdoor director. You started off as a normal streamer on TFR, right?
So I was actually just a regular member, and even before TFR, just a regular guy. And then eventually I joined the events team. We had a regional events coordinator team, and I was putting on events there. And I came up with the idea for the event that we're about to talk about. And then it progressed into me becoming the outdoors manager.
Yeah, because I know for a while the outdoors was not doing anything, unfortunately. And it was a good idea for a program. I forgot who was originally running it, but I want to say John Wick was running it at first. But he ended up deploying, and that's why he couldn't do it.
I don't know. There was somebody else too. I remember, although at least maybe I remember somebody being really active. I want to say Corwin. Does that name ring a bell?
Corwin, yeah. He might have been. He might have been. So I know there were some guys active, but then like some of those guys were like still in. So naturally, like military took over everything, as it always does, which is why I got out. But it's funny because you said you went reserves and then active. I did the opposite. I was active and then went National Guard. Biggest mistake of my fucking life. I went from the A team to the B team, dude. It sucked. Like it just sucked. I got to my unit, we did nothing. And I had dudes that like my leadership had never. I had a guy. I talked about this before, but I never talked about it with you. We had an E8 who had never even left the country, never deployed, nothing, and he would actively avoid it. Like he would put in because in the Guard you can transfer units pretty easily if they have like slots for it. He would, when our unit would come down for a deployment, he would put in paperwork to transfer units. So the dude moved to California. So, and he was drilling out of Wisconsin. So every month he would fly in from California because he didn't want to go on the deployment. And he had like, we were talking about deployments. It's like, why would you want to do that? I'm like, why would I not want to do that? I picked this fucking job to do this. And I'm like, you never even like left the country. You never gone to Europe or anything for anything. He's like, no. I was like, why didn't you go to Ukraine? Nothing's happened at the time. Nothing's happening. You're just going there for training. You didn't want to do that. He's like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm like, you fucking coward.
Those are the guys that are like, I joined for benefits. I joined to go to college.
Oh yeah, and he was totally sticking around for his 20 years to retire, and then he was gonna fucking like ride on the benefits thing and just be like, and he's also gonna be the same guy that goes to the fucking VA and tries to claim disability, but sucks to be him because he never went on active orders. Because so Blake, I don't know if you know about the National Guard and Reserves, how it works for like disability benefits. So being in the Reserves and National Guard, you do not qualify for VA disability unless you were on active orders or mobilized.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Because I tried saying like, well, I did 8 years because 4 of it was National Guard. They're like, those don't count. Like, did you deploy during that? I said, no. They're like, well, it doesn't count. So unless you were mobilized in some capacity during that, anything that happened to you during your guard time is not qualified to be claimed. So
I actually had a really unique situation too, because when I requested to go to active duty, like I said, she said my commander had to approve it after 6 drills, right? And she was like, well, why do you want to go? And I'm like, the part-time mentality is just not my thing. Like, I don't like it. And she's like, oh, that's understandable. Well, what if we could offer you something where you could do this full time? And I'm like, AGR?
Ew.
And she's like, well, we don't have a slot available for your MOS. And I'm like, oh, okay.
So
and
she's like,
well, we have something called WMD funds orders. Don't even remember what the hell it's for or what it was called. You know what I mean? But it was WMD. And I'm like, weapons of mass destruction, but whatever. So she put me on these orders and I was there Monday through Friday for the 6 months and had to do those 6 drills. It was like I was AGR basically. And then she was just like, well, the funding's running out. It was like half a month before my 6-month conditional release. But yeah, I mean, that was, I guess you could say I was active Guard, but not. It was interesting.
This was in 2000 though, wasn't it? Or
yeah,
9/11 hadn't happened yet.
Not yet. Nope. I remember that shit. That was pretty fucking wild.
then you switched over to active duty. It's like, I want to do this full time. And then 9/11, it's like, oh, it's going to happen now. I always find it fascinating, the guys that are in when, like, as 9/11 happens, because it's like everybody joined before all that stuff, because it's like, well, I mean, the benefits are good, and, it's just a life decision that I kind of want to just make, and nothing's really going on right now. And then boom, 9/11, like, fuck. Okay.
And I remember while I was in, we had some buddies that we went through SOI with and everything, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I'm infantry." And we're like, "Oh cool. What unit you going to?" And they're like, "Oh, I'm going back home on reserves." So we would like make fun of them and everything like that. And then 6 months to 8 months after we got to our unit, there were like talks of us going to Afghanistan and everything. So we're all getting hyped up, and they're like, "Oh, we're not doing that. The reserve unit's taking it." We're like, "What?" So they came in and stayed in our H&S barracks for like all the pogues that were attached to the unit and everything. And we were like, we went and talked to him because one of our buddies was a boy with him or whatever. And we were like, "So are y'all like, is this real for y'all?" He's like, "Yeah, we're here to train for like 6 months and we're going to Afghanistan." Like, motherfucker, I should have went reserves.
Dude, a lot of people don't realize this, but the National Guard and Reserves deploys a lot. And the thing is, if you want to, if you are in the National Guard, you can deploy more than active duty, because you can actually seek out deployments and go on them, even if it's not your unit. If they have a slot for you, like, you can literally go, there's like a whole system where you can find National Guard units that are deploying and request to be attached to them. So you can come back from a deployment and like take a couple of months to yourself, and then like immediately go and look for a unit that's deploying, and then go deploy with them again.
Is wild?
So and that's why they were telling me, they're like, "Well, man, if you really wanted to, when you were in the Guard, you could have." I'm like, yeah, but I started my career as a pipe fitter. I was working into an apprenticeship, and I had like 9 other things going on at the same time. And I was like, a deployment right now would have to be something that I'd have to be prepared for. And I just wasn't prepared for it at that time. And like, they gave me an option to go on a deployment. They're like, "Hey, I know you want to go. There's a deployment coming down. You want to go on it?" And I'm like, "Fuck yeah. When is it?" They're like, 2 weeks. I was like, "What?" You want me to give you an answer? Like, "Well, we need an answer like in the next 24 hours. And I was like, "That is no time at all. I can't fucking say yes or no to that." I'm like, I can't just say yes to a deployment that's leaving in 2 weeks. That's fucking way last minute, dude. Although thinking back on it, I probably should have just fucking done it. But
Just said, "Fuck it."
yeah, I fucking regret not doing it. I punched myself in the nuts all the time for it. I should have just done it, because I was with my ex at the time, and I was like considering her and stuff, and she was very like anti-deploying and stuff, and she's like, "It's whatever you want to do." That whole thing where a woman doesn't want you to do something, but she just says, "Just do whatever you want." Which it really means. It's a trap. Don't do whatever you want, guys, because they don't really mean it. So when did you join regiment? I can actually
October of 2022.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah.
Where did you hear of us?
Oh, you really want that story?
Is it a good story?
Kinda. So
Then yes.
I won't say the person's name, right? I'm not going to put the dude on blast. But I was trying to find a football game in 2022, and couldn't find it anywhere because it was blacked out everywhere. So I'm like, where am I going to find this game? So I'm like Google searching like crazy, and I find in a Reddit forum somebody's Twitch page, and the dude was streaming the football game live on his Twitch page. So I was like, oh, interesting. So I went. Sure enough, he was streaming the game live. So I'm like, all right, cool. So like started chatting with the dude, find out he's a veteran. And I'm like, sweet. And then I would just actively hunt down his channel every time there was a game that was blacked out to watch the game. And then he's like, well, I stream 2 games every week. I have a letter from the NFL giving me permission, which I now call bullshit. But
no, actually, I think that was a true thing. I remember hearing about this. Like, some people, very select few, were actually given permission to stream the games. I remember hearing about this.
So I started interacting with his chat, and then became like a member of the community. And then he was like, well, I need mods to handle all these questions because I'm, engaged in my content. So I was like, sure, fuck it. I'm here anyway. I might as well. Right. So I signed up to be a mod and I learned a lot. Like the guy was doing giveaways for jerseys and for football jerseys. And he's like, oh, 90% of the money goes to veteran nonprofits, this, that, and the other. But then I was starting to get messages from people. I haven't gotten my jersey from like 4 months ago. What's going on? Where's the shipping? Blah, blah, blah. And I hit the guy up and I'd be like, yo, where's their tracking number? Nothing. And then people were like, is he actually giving money? I said, dude, you got to provide receipts. Put it in the Discord. I'll send a link to people. Nothing. And then at some point he was like, well, I'm going to join this organization called Regiment. And he's like, you guys should join it too because you're veterans. So maybe you guys could learn about it so we can figure out what we want to do. Because his objective was to get on TFR. So he joins.
Maybe he was lying about permission from the NFL though.
Right.
After
so
hearing
he
about
joins.
this.
I joined because I'm modding for this guy. And then it just got to the point where I'm like, dude, you're not providing tracking numbers. You're not providing receipts. You promised me and all the other mods free NFL jerseys. None of us ever got anything. And I finally said to him, I'm like, dude, I feel like you're full of shit. I'm like, you're not giving the money to the nonprofit veteran organizations that you claim you are. You're even asking us for nonprofits to give money to. And I haven't heard anything. And one of them I knew like personally. So I'm like, you're fucking bullshit, dude. And I'm not going to stand for you making money off of our brothers and sisters. Fuck that. I'm out. So I cut ties with him and I stayed in Regiment. Because I'm a veteran, so I'm here.
Wow. Interesting.
The wild story.
I found Regiment because I was streaming in drag, and one of the moderators found me and was just like, you ever been in Regiment? And I was like, I've heard of it. And then I joined it. It was Doc, by the way.
I found out about it because you and Doc had me on here.
Yeah, you were just like, you were a nice little fucking TikTok boy. And then you were one of like, we need ideas for guests. Like, hey, Outer Regs would be a good guest. Like Doc said that he watches your Twitch and moderated for you and stuff. And he's like, oh, get him in here. I was like, yeah, fucking do it. And then we tried getting Mandatory Fun Day. We'll get him one day. I'm hoping.
Busy guy.
Austin is a fucking busy guy. He's extremely. What's up with him and like fucking that one dude Nunley, the Air Force guy?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, listen, that guy. Like him, they've been doing a lot of collabs and shit.
Yeah, I've seen that. I mean, they're all kind of powerhouses of the community, especially with him dropping that he's Air Force now.
Fucking man, Austin had done a TikTok. He was doing a TikTok with somebody. And then like this, the guy in the background was like, hey, are you Mandatory Fun Day? And he's like, yeah, like, like, oh, I'm a big fan and stuff. He's like, hi. Yeah. Well, who are you? Switches it. And it's the fucking Sergeant Major of the Army. That's who that guy was, by the way. The guy that when he switched it and he's like this guy just kind of cheesing at the camera. You as a Marine, I'm assuming you didn't know who the fuck the significance was of that guy. He's the former Sergeant Major of the Army.
That's wild.
That's why I was like, I laughed so fucking hard when I saw that. But also, I really didn't like that fucking Sergeant Major either. So he was kind of he was honestly kind of like a fucking, I don't know. The worst Sergeant Major in the Army was Sergeant Major Chandler, if I'm being completely honest. Did you have Sergeant Major Chandler when you were in the Army?
Dude, I don't even remember.
So this,
I don't remember our superior chain of commands.
This fucking Sergeant Major, this was the guy that introduced the fucking tattoo ban. I'm sure you heard about the tattoo ban.
TATU?
The what?
TATU?
No, TATOO, tattoos.
Oh, like actual.
Yeah, he wanted
the traditional spelling.
He was banning tattoos. So the rules
ban. Okay.
Banning tattoos. Like he introduced a tattoo ban. So like what his idea was, which was fucking crazy, was that any new recruits could no longer have tattoos below the elbow. And if they showed on the arm by the bicep, it couldn't be, and if they did have anything below their elbow, it couldn't be it had to be smaller than your hand, right? So yeah, yours would have been. Now, if you were already in with these tattoos, they wanted photo documentation of all your tattoos, and if you got a new one, you were getting separated. Mm-hmm. So they would take pictures of the tattoos and they would grandfather those in that already had like full sleeves and shit. However, even though you were grandfathered in, you were barred from ever commissioning. So you can never become an officer if you had tattoos. And the fucked up thing was, this dude came up with the idea because he asked his wife, he's like, hey, what do you think I could do to improve in the army? She's like, tattoos are unsightly. So he introduced a tattoo ban at the suggestion of his wife. This dude was weird. By the way, this dude was Cav. So let you guys interpret that how you will. But I remember he showed up to the 173rd once, and we didn't know that some of us knew that he was there, but he went to the gym. He shows up to the gym on post. And there's in the 173rd, a bunch of fucking airborne infantry guys, rangers and shit. We're all fucking juiced, hitting the gym. Like, the gym was our life when we were there. He comes up to this dude. He like taps, he's like in the middle of a set. Sergeant Major taps this dude on the shoulder, and he like pulls out his headphones, like, what's up? He's like, hey, I was wondering, what do you think you can do to improve your soldiers' fitness? He's like, I don't fucking know, dude. And he put his fucking headphones back in and just kept on his workout. And that pissed him off so much that he called in he had us all in the gym in a formation, pissed off. We got soldiers here that don't know who their chain of command is and stuff, because it was the sergeant major of the army. But that's the kind of shit this dude would do. SSD1, this whole self-structured development thing, was because of him. The online classes and shit that they made you do, that they now just did away with, was because of him. And he made it like he was such a hardcore stickler for online training and stuff. And worst sergeant major ever. And then we got Sergeant Major Daly, who was a fucking ranger, who was the best. He was like trying to get beards approved, overturned the tattoo ban. He was amazing. He was fucking amazing, dude.
Man, look at him now.
Who's Sergeant Major Daly?
No, I'm saying look at the army now. Like, full beards, fucking, like,
yeah, dude.
ZZ Top and that shit, bro.
So the new beard standard is like religious accommodation, and like it has to be like the mustache can't come over your lip. Like, your lip still has to be shown, and like your beard has to be well kept and stuff. It can't be like fucking crazy. Essentially, the beard like what I have right now would be approved.
Yeah, but it's like it's crazy to me because like I never saw anybody with a beard except for the SF guys.
Understandable.
They were just whatever, different fucking world over there.
They live in their own set of rules, bro.
Super common. It's so common. Good shit. You can go on TikTok and just start scrolling through.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you'll just see tons of dudes with beards, and it's like, what the fuck?
Oh, dude, I know. It's great. It's great though. And people that are pissed off at those guys are just jealous. If I'm being honest, they're not pissed because they're like, the standard. No, they're pissed because they didn't get to have a fucking beard.
You're damn straight. I'm pissed because I couldn't have a beard.
Hey, you know what? Honestly, I'm jealous of it, but at the same time, it's like good. At least I'm glad that some people actually got to experience that. So I'm happy for them. So how did you end up in the outdoors part?
So I planned this.
Oh yeah,
event.
the whale shark thing.
Yeah, so I planned this event. So I'm in school for marine biology, and I work at an aquarium here in New Jersey, and they have a partnership with the Georgia Aquarium where they do a lot of joint missions or whatever you want to call it, projects, research. They go out right now. They're part of something called the Florida Reef Restoration Project. There was a mass die-off of the coral in the Keys a couple years back, and they've been actively trying to help that rebound. So they fragment the coral, or what they call propagation with like terrestrial plants. Take a little stem and you can grow it into an actual full plant. So they do the same thing with coral. They take a small piece and you grow it from a little piece of that rock, and it turns into, a bigger piece of coral. So then we take it and bring it back out there. So I was like, oh, that's freaking cool. So I started looking up, stuff about the Georgia Aquarium, and I was like, oh, I got to go there one day. And then because of my field, I'm like, oh, I need a scuba cert. So I started going down that road and researching all that. And I found out that Wounded Warrior Project used to have some programs to get free scuba certs. Well, they got rid of it. And I'm like, damn it. So I'm like, all right, well, I'll get one. And then I read something online about Wounded Warrior Project doing a whale shark dive down at the Georgia Aquarium. So that became a bucket list for me. Absolutely got to do this. 100%. I'm all in. So I got my scuba cert, contacted Wounded Warrior Project, and they were like, yeah, we don't do that anymore. It's too expensive. And I'm like, oh, well, screw it. So another regiment member happened to know the director for the veterans program at the Georgia Aquarium. She put me in contact with him and we had a conversation. I said, look, I'd love to experience this for myself. How do I do it? You know, I'm a disabled vet. And he was like, well, he's like, well, we don't do individuals. It's got to be with an organization. And at that time, I was an event coordinator. I said, so, well, let me tell you about regiment. And he was like, hell yeah. He's like, I'd love to be involved. So the program is basically you go down to the Georgia Aquarium. They provide you an opportunity to scuba dive or snorkel swim with the whale sharks. They have 3 of them. When you get to the aquarium, they give you general admission and 2 tickets. So if you bring like your wife and child or a couple of friends, whatever you want, you can bring in. You can go check out the aquarium during the day. Then you go do a briefing. You get in the water for 45 minutes with these animals. Give you a t-shirt, some stickers, send you on your way. The caveat is you have to be a disabled veteran in order to take part of this program. It's part of the way their grant is structured, and it's all funded by the Home Depot Foundation.
Any percentage?
Any percentage. You just have to have a disability rating. In order to scuba dive, you actually have to have a scuba cert, obviously, but if we go in a group, because the way the group works is it's 8 individuals. If everybody's not scuba dive certified, then it's a snorkel swim. If everybody is, then you can scuba dive. They're not going to like separate the groups. It's a little bit easier and it's safer for the animals if they're not in 2 different places.
So so I have the article right here, the regiment news blog. All right, so diving with gentle giants. When Justin, the head of Regiment Outdoors, heard of another veteran organization that put in stop in the diving excursion at the Georgia Aquarium, mentioned regiment could fill the void that the Georgia Aquarium wanted to fill. And this is him pictured below, diving, high-fiving his daughter through the glass. So I had a feel. So I saw this picture and I was like, oh, that's you, because of the tattoos that I saw on one that you just showed me. I'm like, oh, that's you. So how many dives have you done?
Not many. I only got my scuba cert last year. So I have like 11 dives total under my belt that are like dives. I don't count my work dives because when I'm at the aquarium, we're in the water constantly and that adds up. But actual outside of the work dives, 11.
I couldn't get a fucking scuba cert. I tried getting my PADI cert, but I couldn't pop my ears underwater.
Yeah, couldn't equalize.
I couldn't equalize at all, so I wasn't able to finish. I got a skin diving cert, but that was years and years ago. So being a marine biologist, this is basically talking about like your whole the thing you just talked about. This is cool though. I like the idea of doing this. Do you guys have these events often?
So we have that. The one that we just did was April 24th. We have one coming up in October on the 16th. And then once we complete those, so we're kind of like probationary, right? As long as we have 8 members both times, next year we should get one every quarter. And then possibly going forward after that, we'll get more than 4 a year. So it can become a more regular thing. But the other thing that's really great about this is if we do this year and we do next year, maybe possibly earlier because of the conversations I've had with the director, but at least after next year, we can be invited down to the Keys to do some reef restoration down in the Keys. So anybody who's got a scuba cert can take part in that.
How bad is the reef right now?
Sweet.
It's rebounding. I mean, you've seen bleached coral, what it looks like, I'm sure. It's very ornamental. People use it for all kinds of stuff like that. But when you're talking about miles and miles of reef that's dead like that, it's terrible. It's total loss of life everywhere. You're not going to really find much living in there. You know, the biodiversity is very little.
What's causing it?
there was chemicals in the water. El Nino, which is when the waters are even warmer, that comes in. It's not just that one El Nino that's happened. It's a weather event. It happens frequently. And on top of that, then you have ships that are coming over internationally, and they bring in that ballast and they suck things in from foreign waters, and they bring it over and they dump the ballast. And when they dump that ballast into our waters, it, brings shit in that it's not native to the environment.
And it kills it.
So it causes those problems. On top of it, we have lionfish, which are Indo-Pacific fish now over here in like the Gulf, the Keys, and the Atlantic, and they will kill 80% of a reef's population. They're bad.
That's crazy that the lionfish actually contribute to that.
Oh, dude,
I just thought they were detrimental.
Everything.
I thought they were detrimental to just the fish life. I didn't know that they were detrimental to the reef too.
Well, you got to think there's symbiotic relationships between some of these fish and the coral. So the fish benefit the coral in some way, shape, or form, and the coral benefits the fish as it's a sanctuary for them, and they might provide protection or nursing grounds. So it's just so fucking intertwined. If the fish are dead, the coral's not going to survive. The coral doesn't survive. The fish can't survive. It's crazy.
So lionfish are essentially like up there with the Goliath grouper, in its invasiveness and detrimental to the ecosystem.
Well, the Goliath grouper is actually really beneficial. They're finding out now because they're one of the only natural predators in our waters of lionfish.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
I remember a couple years ago, because like Blake, you live in Florida, so I remember hearing like several years ago, like 2017 and stuff, when Goliath groupers were looked at as like a massive problem. Basically, it was like open season on these dudes, and they were just like, if you find it, kill it, get it the fuck out of there. I know Asian carp is a bad problem. There's no benefit to having Asian carp. We have a problem with that up here by me. Like in the Great Lakes and shit, because it's obviously a freshwater fish. But yeah, I didn't know the Goliath grouper actually like was helping get rid of the lionfish problem.
it was only really kind of studied and understood in the last couple of years. Something I just read recently myself, and I was doing a report for school, and I stumbled upon that, and I was like, holy shit, that's fucking awesome. And then I started reading more studies about it.
Nature finds
I didn't even know the Goliath grouper was seen as a threat at one point. I had no idea about that. I'm assuming they eat a shitload of fish too.
That's the thing. Yeah, the Goliath grouper was the biggest reason why that the Goliath grouper was such a problem was because it was a predatory fish, and it would kill other fish. And
Gotcha.
But knowing that, hey, it's also like the only fish in that area that's a natural predator to the lionfish, is okay. Maybe we shouldn't kill all these things, because that's the thing. The lionfish are extremely poisonous, and they got those barbs and stuff. So like they don't really have many predators because of it. Like it's besides us, and I think I don't know what else they have besides the grouper and us. I don't know what else would eat them.
Not here.
No, not nowhere
here,
around
anyway.
here.
But recently they've some chefs, right? So chefs have a very big influence on what we actually eat and is considered normal. Chefs have actually been preparing lionfish, and people are finding that it actually tastes pretty freaking good. So a lot of star chefs are starting to like feature it, because we got to get rid of them. So what are we going to do with them? So the best thing to do is actually utilize them for food, because food's good. Everybody eats, you know what I mean? So it's just properly cleaning them, and it's just the spine. The spine has the tetrodotoxin in it, not the skin, not the flesh. It's just the spine. So as long as you remove the spines, you're fine.
It's
and
not like
fish
it's not
tastes
like
good. So
it's not like that fucking puffer fish.
no, that's a very very specific process, and if you cut the organ wrong, you taint the meat and you kill whoever eats it.
Yeah, that's why everyone's just like it's basically you're rolling the dice with your life when you eat a puffer fish. But yeah, our biggest problem that we have up by me is the Asian carp, We have Asian carp everywhere. It's fucking with the salmon population out of Lake Michigan. There's like up all the rivers that come out, like, you know, through the Midwest and stuff, like through Kentucky and all that shit. There's a place that we used to fish a lot called Kentucky Lake. It's down in, obviously, in Kentucky, but it's off of the Nolichucky River. And it was massive, massive bluegill. What was it? It was bluegill, walleye, all that stuff. Maybe not walleye, but it was bluegill and a whole bunch of other shit down there. But now it's just overrun with Asian carp.
That's probably from people dumping.
Probably. I don't know how they got here, especially with the whole
Asian carp are essentially koi.
Mm-hmm.
Because koi, goldfish, they're all carp. They're all just different types of carp. So you get people that get these koi for their little fucking ponds, and they're like, oh, this beautiful fish. Sure, it's beautiful when they're smaller, but when they get really fucking big, they don't really look as attractive as when they're small. So they get rid of it. And so they dump them in the local waters because they don't want to kill the fish. And then next thing you know, you have population blooms because they fuck like rabbits.
Oh, dude, yeah. Like, I've seen so many TikToks of people just fucking killing carp in funny ways. When that guy pulls a carp out of the water, he's like holding it up, and they're like, what'd you catch? It's like, it's a carp, and he like smashes it against a rock. But like, pretty much, yeah, like all of the DNR around here basically say, if you catch a carp, kill that fucking thing, kill it, and dump it somewhere.
It's like the biggest thing in Florida is just so many different species of animals just get dumped all over Florida.
Snakes.
And they go off and fuck. And then you're just like, oh, hey, there's a new species here. If you run by it, fucking kill it. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just like, okay, great.
It's funny because outside of aquatic life, the invasive species that we have here in Wisconsin is wolves. Which is insane to think that we have like a massive invasive population of wolves, but they're federally protected, so you can't do anything about it. It's even gotten to the point up here where DNR will look the other way if you kill one. Because,
really?
like, yeah, especially if you live on a farm and you kill, like, there's been times like there was a guy in my old National Guard unit who was DNR, and he said we had a guy that, like, he was a dairy farmer and he killed 2 wolves, called us, and I said, bury it, never tell anybody that you did this. Because they're not tracked. Like, and it's weird in Wisconsin. We have timber wolves in Wisconsin, and they have in Fort McCoy, where we have our only fucking training area in our base in Wisconsin. There's like a big den on the land nav course. So when we do land nav at night, it's really unsettling because you know that there's like a massive den of timber wolves out there, and you have to like avoid it. And there would be a lot of times where we have our radios on us and we're like, hey, avoid point so-and-so. There's 2 wolves on it. Like we'll find out during the course while we're in the middle of the course over the radio, like, hey, just so you guys know, point N63, November 63 has a wolf on it. So avoid it. Or some stupid shit like that. So it's like, and then like when I was doing the land nav at night, I had a wolf following me.
That's scary,
dude. I could see its eyes, and it was like we were white lighting. I didn't give a fuck. We were white lighting because like we were done. We did the course. We're trying to get back to the start point, and because for some reason whoever made the land nav course decided not to let the final point be the start point. Because usually you're supposed to do that. Like your last point is by the start point. So the last point was like 4 clicks away from the start point. So we had to walk through all the fucking woods and shit at night, white lighting. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck. We're just going to go. And then we're sitting there and we ended up coming next to the point where they radioed and said, avoid it because there's wolves on it. But it was like, either we go through that or we are taking a very long way around. So we went through it. And then like, I just happened to like see the fucking eyes. And it was making sure we weren't going to get close. I'm assuming it had like pups nearby. So it was just kind of watching because wolves will do that. If there's a group of people, they'll watch you to see what you do. They don't actually like attack you for the most part. They're used to seeing people, so they want to see what you're doing before they make a decision. So like you're just walking, you can hear it moving around and stuff, and then you just kind of like see its eyes perk up at you and then turn because it's like turning its head, so they go away. It's like just you see these glowing fucking eyes in the darkness. It's the worst. It's the fucking worst, dude.
It's fucking terrifying.
Yeah. And everyone says Wisconsin, there's nothing in Wisconsin, dude. We got black bear, we got wolves, we have cougars. I found out we have cougars. There's not very many of them, but we do. Fucking,
I got a cougar.
you got a cougar? Are you talking about your girlfriend?
Yeah.
So, okay, so let's actually
Well,
watch.
you have them in your state too,
What?
in Florida.
Do we?
Yeah, well, cougars, mountain lions, pumas, they're all the same thing,
Oh shit!
just a different name. So the Florida panther is a mountain lion.
I didn't
They're
know
not
that.
black. They're mountain lions. They're just
I didn't know
mountain lions in Florida.
Wow.
Finding out that a species like that lives in your state when that's not the norm is fucking just ominous, you know? Because like you go out hiking or you go out camping and stuff, and then you find out like, hey, by the way, there's like a bunch of cougars that live in this, and like, or panthers, whatever the fuck, that live over here. And I'm like, so not only do we have wolves in Fort McCoy, but we have a fucking panther. And like I'm thinking to myself, Black Panther? I'm like, no, it's like a mountain lion. But like, I was like finding out that we have cats like that in Wisconsin. It's just weird to me because I'm like, I think of fucking cornfields and cows and shit. I don't think like, hey, by the way, we also have like apex predators of the forest.
Yeah, you probably have bobcats. You probably have lynx.
We definitely
You
have
probably
bobcats.
American and Canadian lynx.
Bobcats for sure. I've seen some down here in Kenosha. They're very rare now, but back before like it became more and more developed like it is now, like there was a lot of prairie land around here. So like the prairie lands like around south and west of the city of Kenosha, like bobcats, deer, all that shit. But so let's watch this video real quick that you sent us. It's also in the article. Is this you swimming?
It's a bit long.
It's all right. We'll kind of skip through some of it. Let's see. Look at that. There's a fucking whale shark. Oh, this was the one that just happened.
Yeah.
That's really cool. All right. So this is you guys getting in the water. Is this so like everybody that does this has to be certified to dive, right?
It has to be scuba certified for the dive. For the snorkel swim, they do not.
Okay.
But this is all part of like the experience. When you go, everybody gets a copy of the video. They take some pictures. So everybody gets all this stuff so they can look back at it. Because it's a lifetime, once in a lifetime experience. You're not supposed to interact with them in the wild. They are protected. Touching them is illegal.
But here you can.
No, you can't touch them here. They can touch you if you're lucky enough, but
Touching
they
a
try to
whale shark
avoid
is
that at all
illegal,
costs.
really.
Yeah.
It's like a manatee here. If it runs up to you and scrapes up to you, you're good, but
Don't touch the manatees.
shouldn't be going up.
Nope.
Yeah.
What?
Well, the
why?
whole idea with that is you don't want them swimming up to like boats and shit because that's what kills them. They don't have a natural predator. So boaters are what is killing manatees, and they like to hang out at the top sometimes, obviously, to come up and breathe and shit.
That is weird to me that
Mate.
manatees have no natural predator.
Mhm.
Like nothing.
Well, they're just so fucking big, and they just don't
Yeah.
pose a threat to anything. So it's like, whatever.
like sharks and shit don't think like that's a big meal right there. They don't even fuck with manatees.
Mm-mm.
Can't get their mouth around them.
Fucking. I mean, they do call manatees what, the cows of the water,
Sea cows, yeah.
sea cows.
Mm-hmm.
And,
They're
and-
fucking cool.
They're.
I had one swim up to me one time and just hung out for like an hour.
I heard they're pretty
They'd
docile.
come up to you and just
Yeah,
kind of
they're
rub up against
extremely-
you, and they're like, "What's up, dude?" We had one out here in the water a couple weeks ago. They'll come up. They love fresh water, so they'll come up to your dock or whatever. If you're spraying your boat down, they'll just put their mouth out the water and like, "Let me get some of that shit."
put it in my mouth.
Did I put it in my mouth? Thirsty.
All right, let's keep watching this. So, can you touch any of these fish?
No, you're not supposed to touch anything in the aquariums.
That is like such a hard thing for me to not do. I'm just like, I want to feel it on my hand.
Yeah, it's like you have to. So like they give you the rules and they're like, you're not allowed to touch anything. Don't chase. Don't harass them. And I'm like, oh, what is this? The military?
Don't touch the wildlife. Yeah, the fucking
Don't harass.
don't harass the wildlife. Don't touch the wildlife.
But they're like, if they touch you, it's fine. I'm like, oh, I see. This is a one-way street. But it's the great thing about diving in an aquarium versus out in the wild is the purpose of the aquarium is for people to learn about conservation efforts and see the biodiversity that's out there.
Mm-hmm.
But out there, that biodiversity concentration isn't as great in some spots. So you're going to see a lot more stuff in an aquarium in one spot than out in the wild. So getting this opportunity to be amongst that amount of biodiversity in one spot is absolutely incredible. There's everywhere you look, there's something to look at.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, because I love that. Like, I like aquariums a lot. I don't know why. It's just seeing it all is like really cool. I love seeing sharks and shit. I like the shark section and all that stuff.
So I paid for the beluga whale experience too while I was there, and I got to play with the beluga whale. Well, not really play with it, but like you get they teach you commands for it to like do stuff, and they make a lot of noise. They call them canaries of the sea because they're extremely vocal. But when I touched its melon, it was like touching a massive ball of wet mozzarella.
It's
But
soft
it
like
feels
that?
like a fresh ball of mozzarella.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, what the fuck is in that ball on their head though?
Just like fat and stuff like that. It's part of their like sonar. It's part of that organ for
Really?
them to echolocate. Yeah.
Interesting.
I like how everyone's just sitting down there. There's a cool big ass whale shark, and then what swims by looked like a fucking mako. Is there a mako in there?
There's all kinds of sharks in there.
Yeah, I noticed that. I'm like, so there's like the whale shark. They're like, oh, it's so nice and kind. And then there's the fucking apex predator of the water swimming behind them. And then like no one's looking at it. You just see this fucking shark swimming behind them.
There's a single I saw a single sea turtle in there. I believe it was a green sea turtle. And then there's a massive manta ray in there. Like 16 feet from tip to tip.
A lot of people confuse manta rays with stingrays because they're all like, for my buddy Steve Irwin, and it's just like, that's a manta ray. It's not the same thing.
Yeah, this thing was huge. It was like a UFO when it swam over us.
Those ones that swim over them are fucking stingrays, though.
I've been to this aquarium once, and I went through that little little tunnel you go through.
Yep.
You're kind of in the water. And we had the manta ray swim over us, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, it's huge,
it's massive.
It's got to be crazy actually being in the presence of a giant aquatic animal. As opposed to seeing it through the glass, you're like, wow. But being in the water with it, and it's just like swimming over you and around you, and you could feel the water and shit of its movement. And just, it's like right there and stuff. And that's got to be like a whole different experience.
It's awesome.
I've had one encounter. You're talking about the sharks. I've had one encounter in the wild with a shark. I was out surfing one day, just kind of chasing the wave all day, like down the beach. And I get down to like my third beach of the day. The sun starts going down. And this is when sharks were feeding heavy near the shore. And I go catch this wave. I fall off of it, and I'm pulling my board back to me. And I get my hand on the board, and all these fish start jumping around me. And I was like, fuck, there's a shark right here. So I just like get my tiptoes in the sand and shit and just stand there and try not to like fucking move too much. And the shark comes up and bites the side of my fucking surfboard, shakes its head a couple times, and then swims under it like right in front of me. I got on my board and had a wave right behind me, and I was like, oh, thank God. Caught that one into the beach. And I'm going by. I'm walking by, and I see this dad, and he's like with his like daughter or son or whatever. And he's like, you see that out there? And she's like, yeah. He's like, that's a shark out there. They're out there feeding. Isn't that cool? The kid's like, yeah, that's really cool. And I wanted to be like, yeah, it's cool as shit till it bites your board. But I was like, I'm not gonna scare the kid. And I go home and check out my board. I still have it in the garage. It's just got a bunch of teeth marks in it, so I had to like fix it. A week later, I go back out surfing again, and some dolphins breached right behind me, and I kind of was like, oh shit, what was that? Not again. And fucking this chick that was surfing next to me, she laughs at me and she's like, it's a dolphin, dude. And I was like, yeah, you know, like, yeah, I know it's a dolphin. I see that now, but I had a shark about my board the other day. She was like, what the fuck? She paddled over and looked at my board. She was like, that's crazy.
Yeah. Dude. Well, honestly, if you see, I think if you see dolphins around you, you're good. Like, I think dolphins like to fuck sharks up, don't they?
That and humans sometimes.
Yeah.
They're not nice. Dolphins, if you knew about dolphins, they are fucked up.
Yeah, don't dolphins have like the highest rate of raping people or something like that? Mm-hmm. Like they have like there's like a statistic out there that say dolphins rape a certain percentage of people every year. Hang on, let me look. What the fuck was that sound? Test 1 2.
Aren't they the only other animals in nature besides humans to have sex for pleasure?
Yep. People do dolphins rape each year. The dark side of dolphins, they kidnap, rape, rape, and murder other dolphins and humans. They kidnap? They do this to other dolphins? Do you guys hear that sound?
Mm-mm.
It's like a tick, 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 tick.
Mm-mm. You have a mouse in the house?
No, it's in my headset. Which is weird. I don't know why I hear it.
What interface is it?
Rodecaster Pro.
I have the Duo.
Yeah, it's definitely the interface. Hang on.
I think my favorite.
Honestly, it might just be my headset. It really might just be
my favorite.
What?
Check your wire. Make
aquatic.
sure.
Your favorite aquatic what?
My favorite aquatic fact about animals is that sharks have 2 penises.
Do they really? So here's this dark-sided dolphins. They kidnap, rape, and murder other dolphins and humans. Dozens of cases of dolphins attacking humans are reported each year. I have to have an account to fucking read the rest of this. Fuck you! I hate that.
So that just gave me an idea, and I need to find if you know any Hollywood directors, have them reach out to me. Because have you seen how like they've been taking these childhood movies and making horror movies out of them?
Yes.
How like they did the Winnie the Pooh fucking movie?
Yeah.
Oh, and they're awful. They've already got 2 out. I want to see both of them.
Right. So like, hello, can we get a Flipper horror movie?
Awesome. Someone's got to do it.
Be like Jaws with dolphins.
I'm sure there's something. Now I'm wondering.
I think we need a bigger boat.
Yeah.
Bigger boat. Dolphin horror movie.
Dude, there has to be. So like, okay, so I'm looking at Quora. So there have been reports and studies suggesting that dolphins can sexually attack humans. These incidents are considered dangerous and disturbing as they reveal a darker side of the behavior of these seemingly friendly creatures. One example of aggressive behavior by dolphins towards their own species is infanticide, which infanticide is more commonly observed in animals like lions and monkeys. Dolphins have also been observed engaging in this behavior. In one instance, researchers observed a bottlenose dolphin giving birth in the wild. Shortly after the calf was born, 2 male dolphins attempted to drown the newborn while the mother tried to protect it. This behavior is rare in dolphins, whales, and porpoises, but it does occur and may be a way for males to make females ready to breed again or sooner. I've heard of this. In recent news, there have been reports of sexually aggressive behavior by dolphins towards humans. For example, in the UK, swimmers have been cautioned to steer clear of a bottlenose dolphin named Nick. Wow, they even gave it a name. Who has been described as a sexually aggressive and has been seen getting up close and personal with beachgoers. Marine experts have warned that the lone dolphins may attempt to create social bonds by approaching humans, and this behavior can be worsened if the dolphin becomes habituated into people's presence. It's strongly advised to stay safe distance away from dolphins. Interesting. Dolphins are really, really smart. And
speaking of a dolphin horror movie,
is there one?
There's a movie called The Day of the Dolphin. It's a science fiction thriller where the dude is teaching dolphins how to speak basic English, And after proving all that, come to find out they started teaching the dolphins how to assassinate the president of the United States.
Oh my God. It's 1973 movie, The Day of the Dolphin.
Yep.
He unwittingly trained a dolphin to kill the president of the United States. What the fuck? A brilliant driven scientist and his wife, along with a small team, trained dolphins to communicate with humans in a remote island research facility. They teach Alpha, a dolphin they have raised in captivity for 4 years, to speak simple English. They introduce him to a female dolphin captured in the wild, whom they name Beta. Alpha regresses to his native language for a while, but soon teaches Beta to understand English too. The 70s were wild, bro. Terrell Research is funded the Franklin Foundation. An undercover government agent for hire blackmails him and allowing him access to the facility under the guise of a freelance journalist writing about dolphin research. Where does the killing the president come in, though?
Who's the director
I don't know.
and the writer? I need to know the name.
Mike Nichols is the director.
So the dolphins get kidnapped. Mahoney reveals that the Franklin Institute is planning to further train the dolphins to carry out a political assassination using a magnetic limpet mine to kill the president of the United States. Okay, that's where I was like, how are you gonna train a dolphin to fucking Lee Harvey Oswald somebody? It's not gonna happen. Like, hey Flipper, here's a fucking Mosin Nagant. You need to learn how to fucking shoot with it. That's crazy.
Didn't the Navy train dolphins in like World War II or some crazy shit?
That's what I was gonna get at. So I wonder if this movie spurred inspiration for, militaries to do that with them, because you guys know about Vladimir, right? The beluga whale.
Mm-mm.
No.
The Russian government spy, the beluga whale.
No.
Would they do? Strap some like fucking tech to him and send him on his way?
They trained this dolphin and they had camera harnesses attached to the beluga. It was their hopes that they could spy on allied countries and stuff, and they found them in around Norway and stuff like that. Yeah, Vladimir.
Wait, didn't this happen like not too long ago?
Yeah, like 2019.
Yes, I remember hearing about this now, because I remember they found like it didn't want to do the thing that it was being trained, quote unquote, to do. So it had like some kind of surveillance technology installed on his fucking head.
Mm-hmm.
And then they set him free to spy on NATO, and they ended up in like some country in the north.
Yeah.
And it was just like living his fucking life, not even like trying to do the thing that the Russians were trying to make it do. I remember seeing this. I'm like, that is insane that someone was trying to do this.
Dr. Evil shit.
It's some
Sharks with freaking laser beams.
Dude, I remember seeing the article and everyone was like making fun of it, saying this is some shit Dr. Evil would do, and it was just like freaking lasers. So like you said that vets can, like disabled vets can actually sign up. How many regiment members have actually gone to this?
So each time we go, it's only a group of 8. You got to keep it small. It's all about protecting the animal first.
Mm-hmm.
Their welfare is first and foremost. So you don't want to stress them out, put too many people in the water. So we do 8 at a time. We've only done it one time. We did that in April. So we have had 8 regiment members so far go.
Fuck yeah, dude. So a whole group.
Fucking sweet.
Yeah. And they were all the people in the video.
So he sent
Makes
me
me wish I got my dive cert in Japan.
I'm gonna put the actual link to this in the description, but here's what it basically is. So in order to qualify for this, and this is for what I'm assuming is the free certification, the form that you gave me, or is this
so the Google form is for the sign up for the whale shark dive.
Okay, what's the screenshot that you sent me though?
The screenshot letter.
Yeah,
that's something else that I figured we'd get to.
Oh, I thought this was something completely different. So yeah, the Google form. So the Google form to sign up for this, and you said this is to sign up to swim, or is this for your actual?
So the Google form is a sign up for anybody to be able to participate.
Gotcha.
They can sign up on that form. And there's certain questions asked that are from the aquarium, and certain questions just to make sure we're vetting everybody to make sure they are a veteran, they are a disabled veteran, and we'd like them to be a regiment member. So they could sign up on that form. The next date is October 16th, plenty of months out. So we haven't like officially announced it yet, but I mean, it's already locked in. We already got the date. And then I'll eventually create a timeline of how it's going to go down. Like, hey, you're going to get notified on this date. The documents, if they're not sent in on the form, we'll have to have them by a certain date because I have to send that all to him. And then we have a roster to fill out. So all the extra questions about like equipment size and t-shirt size, all needs to be input. And then once I have everybody and they're good to go, the only thing is that if people do sign up and they commit to it, they have to commit to it, because if we don't show up with a full group, we lose the opportunity to go forward with the program.
And that's why you keep it as a small group, right? Well, for the safety of the animal, but also to keep it like, hey, like these, you got to for sure be going to this.
Right.
I get life happens at the last possible minute, but that could also be potentially like, you know, fuck other people with that whole thing.
So the downside is, while the experience and everything is free at the aquarium, the program doesn't cover your accommodations and your transportation. So you just got to get yourself there. Which is why I try to let people know about it plenty of time in advance so that they can make these accommodations.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. So what is the thing that you sent me? You said it's a separate thing that we will get to.
So because the experience is definitely going to be much better if you're scuba diving, right? The whale sharks kind of hang out in like this mid section of the water column. They don't really go to the surface too much because they have gills, so they have no reason to really go up to the surface. When you do the snorkel swim, you'll see them, absolutely, but the experience is much better down at the bottom. You're going to see more of the manta rays up top than you will when you do the snorkel swim. So people are going to want the opportunity to scuba dive. It's expensive. It's an investment in a hobby. It really is. And an investment in yourself, because the benefits are all over the place. People with PTSD, bone and joint issues, especially spinal. It's a full body workout because of the barometric pressure, adding extra resistance to your body. I mean, it's incredible for you physically and mentally because you're clear under that water. All that shit that's going through your head when you're on land, when you're in the water, you don't think about that because you're thinking about yourself, your safety, and what's going on around you. It's gone. It's all gone. It's great. But because people want this opportunity to scuba dive, I went down another rabbit hole to see if I could find a way to get veterans certified without having to pay a dime. And I found one. So there's a organization called Dive for Vets. They're based out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And they offer free scuba certs for veterans that are disabled. 10% disability rating, boom. 0% service-connected disability rating, got it. You get a free scuba cert. If you've already got your open water and you want to go for your advanced, they'll let you use it for that. The great opportunity about this is you're not paying for it. You're benefiting yourself. You'll be able to take part in this as a scuba dive for the whale shark dive. And the organization will also host dive trips. So if you want to go on a dive trip with your newfound scuba cert, you can go on this trip and they cover everything.
That's really cool.
So the even better is because I said to him, you know, we are based out of, our headquarters is in Dallas. You know, we're a national organization at Regiment. So we're going to have people fly all the way from like California, Alaska, all the way to Fort Lauderdale for this when they could find a local dive shop and do it there. Sure, they're going to spend out of pocket. But like, you know, the lower 48 or whatever, it's going to be cheaper to fly there and get a free scuba cert and get a hotel and then fly back home
than to buy the scuba cert.
Then get outright. So, I mean, that benefits there. But he said, well, the good thing is he's trying to branch out. So he has another shop that he's working with in El Paso. So it kind of cuts the country right in half. So you got two places that you can go currently. I'm currently trying to connect him with a dive shop here in New Jersey to help cover the Northeast a little bit. And then he's going to try to find somewhere in the Northwest up towards like Seattle area so we can kind of get all that. And then somebody also recommended something in Michigan. There's a dive shop there that dives the lakes all the time. So if we can get all these shops in, people have a little bit closer places for them to be able to go. But yeah, like I said, that form right there is just a basic description of what it is. You have to provide a DD-214. You have to provide an award letter of your disability rating. And then you contact Carrie McNeil, which is the email that's in the form. Let him know that you're interested in the program. You heard about it from Regiment, and he'll take care of the rest. He'll basically set you up. You have to do... there's like a questionnaire that everybody has to do. It's a medical questionnaire. Some boxes will, if you check yes, may require you to get a medical waiver for either mental or physical, in order for you to scuba dive.
Yeah, I mean,
Don't.
I've heard a lot of like, cause scuba diving, a lot of people don't realize it, like with the whole like the air tanks and pressure and stuff, like getting hypoxia. Is that what it is? Like when you get air in your blood?
The bends?
That's
nitrogen in your blood.
Yeah. So like when I have a buddy that got the bends when he was scuba diving. Basically as if you surface too fast or something like that. So yeah, the bends is another thing. Like, just like being in that kind of environment is like, if you have really bad health, it might not be a good idea for you to do it.
Right. So, well, it's more than that too. I mean, blood pressure can have an effect on it, and depending on how bad it is, any pre-existing conditions, like if you have epilepsy or you're prone to seizures and things like that. If you have a dive emergency underwater, you're fucked.
That's I mean, being underwater, it's not like fucking someone just call an ambulance or take you to the hospital. Like, no, that's a whole situation that's putting other people at risk too.
Yeah, so they take it really seriously. So if you do the dive questionnaire and you check yes on something, doesn't mean you can't scuba dive. It just means you have to get your doctor to say your condition is not going to be affected by you scuba diving, and then you're good to go. Right? So then after you fill that out and you're good to go, they set you up with an e-online learning. Take a couple days, pretty simple, basic knowledge of how barometric pressure works and what safety stops are, and explains what each piece of equipment is and how it works and stuff like that. Just the basics. You'd go down there, you'll schedule a time to go. 3 days is all it takes. You'll do a briefing where they basically go over everything you did online to make sure you kind of got it down. And then they talk about what's going to happen next. You do a couple of pool dives with just the basic procedures and going over the things that you need to know when you're in the water. And then they do a couple of checkout dives. And checkout dives are then going over all the things you just learned in a real life setting instead of in a pool. So out in the ocean, and interacting with the environment, actually getting to do a little bit of a dive, but then saying like, you're underwater, and they'll start giving you hand signals for you to understand, like, what does it mean? So they'll teach you how to like exchange your primary regulator with your secondary regulator. If somebody's out of air, you pull yours out of your mouth and you give it to them, and then you have one around your neck and you just put yours on, right? So you share that. At that point, your dive's over, so you surface and you go up to the top. So those are some things that like they kind of teach you that stuff in the checkout dive, and then they do a test at the end of all the skills that you learn. And as long as you pass everything, maybe with a little bit of correction, some remedial training might be needed, but it's all done right then and there, and you have a scuba cert. Pretty simple.
Blake, you live in fucking Florida, dude. You should do it. You should sign up for this. Get a free scuba cert.
I'll have to look into it. Be pretty sweet. Cool. It's a cool cert to have too, especially just with it unlocks more opportunities of shit to do.
Right. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to find this opportunity, so that people can then actually partake in the whale shark dive as a dive and not just a snorkel swim. Still going to allow it for people that don't want to go get a scuba cert. Fine, no problem. But the experience is much better when you're doing a scuba dive. And then going forward, because of those trips that he's offering, well, you need to have a scuba cert. So this will open up another level of events that we can do. Little get-togethers, get like a dozen people to go do a scuba dive together. We went to the whale shark dive the night before. We all went out, had dinner, had a couple of drinks. It was a good time. Had a blast hanging out with a bunch of veterans I never knew. You know what I mean? Made some new friends. Went and did our experience, went out for dinner again. We all had a blast. You know what I mean? So doing the same thing on another trip, it's great, dude. It's awesome.
Dude, There's so many more outdoor things I'm going to talk about. I have to piss before we go on, though.
Sure.
Regiment in this podcast is also partnered with BR Paradox. BR Paradox is a company that specializes in custom-built PCs. So if you have an idea for a cool custom-built PC, they can definitely give you the hookup on that. But if you're not in the market for custom PCs, BR Paradox has a wide array of pre-built PCs that you could choose from at great prices. And if you're not in the market right now for a new PC, BR Paradox will definitely hook you up with an optimization. Optimizations take around 10-15 minutes to do, and they're very awesome. I highly recommend them. I had my PC optimized by them, and it's never run smoother since. BR Paradox also has a list of renowned customers ranging from LeBron James, Chris Brown, members of FaZe Clan, and even Angela White from your favorite orange and black site, if you know what I mean. So head on over to brparadox.com to get yourself a PC today or an optimization. And remember to use promo code REGIMENT at checkout. That's promo code REGIMENT down here at checkout.
All right, we're back. So, Justin, walk me through like when you got out. What was your ambitions? What was your plan? What did you do?
So I'm one of the sad stories of people that couldn't adjust when I got out. Spiral into depression and just became like a hermit. Sat inside, depressed. Eventually started to get my way back out because I realized I needed to start working and doing whatever. I moved back home in with my grandmother to help her fix her house and help her take care of her needs. But after all that was done, I didn't have anything to keep myself busy and from going crazy. So I did attempt to do what a lot of veterans do, and try to end everything by taking a bunch of pills and sitting at a bar with a bottle of Jameson. Another veteran actually saw me and recognized what was going on and basically was like, cut him off, drove me home, said, I'll be here tomorrow to take you to the VA. I was like, whatever. I was drunk, didn't care. Next morning, 6 o'clock, this fucking guy shows banging on my door. Grandmother's like, there's some big ass dude at the front door. And I was like, all right. So he, took me up to the VA, got me started with my benefits, and it's been great since then. You know what I mean? Like that opened my eyes up and made me realize, hey, if there's people that are willing to do that, then there must be a lot more veterans that are in that same boat. So maybe I should fulfill my time by doing the same thing that was just done for me. So I've kind of made that sort of like a life mission of mine to do the same exact thing for other veterans. So I've put my all into everything in my learning process of getting my own benefits and making sure I ask tons of questions so that when somebody else has the same question, I can give them the answer. Because you guys both know how fucking difficult it is when you're trying to go through these processes and trying to figure things out. Nobody's telling you what you got to do.
Nope.
The only people that tell you what to do are us, because we've been there.
It's and that goes with the whole, we are our brothers and sisters keeper, because it's like when you're getting out, when you're processing out, they don't fucking tell you shit.
Nope.
And Blake, like one of our streamers, he has to take a leave of absence because he found out he has 2 months to process out of the Marine Corps. In like because he's like medically separating, and like I think it was like, who was it? I can't remember, but it was he was in, but he was like waiting for the go ahead to start separating, and then he got his rating, and then his command called him and said, "Hey, you have basically 30 days to get out of here." So they gave him 30 days to process out of the military. So it's like, and if you really think they're going to tell you everything that you need to know when you're leaving during that, fuck no. We're going to have to like inform him when that time comes, like, hey, these are the things you got to do. One of the things when I was getting out was like, I wanted to talk to a VA rep before I left because I wanted to start getting my claim shit done. And they told me, they're like, would you like to speak to a VA representative to start working on like claims? And I was like, yes. Come time for clearing and out processing, I was like, hey, I never got an appointment to see. I got like a month left. When do I have my appointment? They're like, oh, you're not going to get one because they're gone. We don't have one anymore. They left. I'm like, so what am I supposed to do about claim shit? Like, you're going to have to do it when you get out on your own. Well, they don't tell you how to do that kind of shit, right? So they don't tell you at all how to do that kind of shit. So I didn't know how to get it started. You know, I just thought you just show up to the VA and then like, here it is. No, I didn't know the process or anything because they don't tell you that shit. You have to actually like have someone tell you this because you're not going to know what you don't know. And you're not going to know to ask the questions if you don't know what the questions should be. The only thing I really knew was education stuff. That was the only thing that I actually stayed on top of was, all right, how do I utilize my education? I didn't know shit about disability stuff. The extent of like VA disability was like my grandpa, and he was a Vietnam vet, and he
that's bad.
And he ended up getting 100%, but by the time I got out, he had already passed. So it's like I couldn't ask him. So anybody that I knew that I didn't know anybody that had any kind of like guidance for this. So I didn't pursue any kind of claims until 2021. I got out of active duty in 2016, but I also went into the Guard. So I was like, well, I can't really file a claim because I'm still fucking in. Right. So like you can't file a disability claim while you're in. Because then you're double like for now, like I keep getting calls by fucking recruiters asking I want in, and I'm like, I'm service connected, and they're like, oh, you can still get in with that. And I'm like, will I still keep my fucking VA disability pay? They're like, no, you'll either have to relinquish your National Guard pay or your VA pay. But and they also don't tell you this, but if you go in and you're service connected, they lower your rating when you go in because you can't be a certain rating when you go in. So they lower your rating, and then they said getting that back is near impossible. So I'm like,
because you're well enough to go back to active duty. So
well, not even active duty, National Guard. You're well enough to go back into the Army.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't. You guess you're not that bad. So they lower your rating so that you can go in, and you have to choose between getting paid that rating or getting paid your whatever you are. You're getting paid in while you're in, and getting that rating back. They don't just give it back to you. You have to fight for that fucking rating to get raised again. And I was like, it's not worth it. Not worth doing. But they don't tell you this kind of shit, you know?
Nope.
They don't tell you this kind of stuff. They don't tell you about VA disability stuff, VA benefits, education stuff. They touch on education. But yeah, and
that might be a good little admin page in the server to have, so that way people getting out, if they're in the server, they can go in and just read.
We kind of have like, you know, VA question, like we have a VA channel in there. So we do have a lot of people that ask, hey, I'm getting out soon. What should I do? That kind of stuff. So we do have people within regiment that are doing that already.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean like a document almost. So like when you go in, kind of like when you have like the rules page and you got to read all the rules, kind of like the very base of like, okay, you'll go to VA website, you'll go here, make your account, do this, do that, do this, do that. Just because, I mean, yeah, it's something you can figure out, but
I can talk.
like you said, when you ain't got
honestly,
no damn
we could
idea.
talk to fucking Fred about that, adding something in there, saying like, hey, like
Blackjack.
or Blackjack. Fred would be the one to talk to about it too because he's the admin, so you can add that kind of stuff. But yeah, the whole adjusting when you get out is different for everybody, but for the most part, it's rough. I had a hard time. I had a hard time getting out.
I went on a quest after this guy pushed me to like learn everything I possibly could. Like I said, to answer any questions for anybody else who could be struggling. So it was just like, you know, hyper focused on learning about any and everything I possibly could. I started going to quarterly stakeholder meetings with politicians in my state to learn about laws and shit that were changing, not only just on the state level, but federal level when it came to like veterans benefits. I mean, I went hard, dude. I learned so much shit. And then finally started using my education benefit and was like, there's no veterans organization at my college. We have the person that does the GI Bill and the voc rehab like authorizations, but there was nothing at the school for veterans. And I'm like, well, this is fucking stupid. So I created a veterans club at the school. And I founded that. I got it up and running, and it's still running today, which is great. But my whole thing while I was there, all my events outside of like going to like the VA hospitals and doing dinner for some of the guys that are like an inpatient, and going to like the retirement veteran homes and stuff like that and helping out there. It was just doing basically like a forum. I would find organizations that had things to help veterans in some way, shape, or form or capacity come in. The very first one I did, I had 1,000 people show up. 1,000 veterans in the state of New Jersey came for 20 different organizations that had some time to speak. And
That's wild.
So that's what qualified me as like an event coordinator. I'm very successful at getting people together to do a thing. And then, you know what I mean? So that, I mean, I introduced, New Jersey has 2 programs that I helped introduce. One of them is the parking program that New Jersey itself has. You get a placard that goes on your mirror. There's 2. There's a disabled veteran one, and there's a Purple Heart one. If you're a Purple Heart recipient, you can get the Purple Heart one. I think it's self-explanatory. But what it does is this allows you to have, if there's designated in state government facilities or county government facilities, there is veteran parking spots that allows you to use those. On top of that, with this placard, you do not have to pay public meters.
I was about to ask that. If does that like waive public meters too? That's
Public
pretty
meters,
fucking
yeah.
awesome.
So like
I wish
if you go
Wisconsin had
into,
this shit.
if you go to a state facility that charges for their parking deck, you don't have to pay. So it's like really great. Like if you're going to go to like a football game or something, you just go to like the courthouse and park and get a cab. Save $50 on parking. But that's that program. And then I helped introduce, there's a program that's national. It's called the, it's not Wounded Warrior Project, but it's Wounded Warrior Parking Program. And it's something that you can actually sign up for and have like a business or a school or whatever. They can sign up for it. And what they do is they send you the signs that go on the pole that designate that spot for a disabled veteran, either Purple Heart or however they want to designate it. And then that indicates a spot, right? It's like a handicap spot. But I introduced that at my school and a couple of local businesses and stuff like that. And I mean, that's something you could do in your state. Like you can reach out to them and reach out to a business and say, hey, you want to put these things up? It's free. Doesn't cost them anything. But I did those things. And then, like I said, I ended up finding myself here. I mean, I've raised money at this school. We created a scholarship. I found an investor that's fucking wealthy as shit. He now pays for annually one person to go to school. That's a veteran, or a Gold Star family dependent to go to school for free. Covers everything. Their books, their tuition, everything, covers it all. And I said to him when we were designing it, if a veteran decides to go to school, but they have their benefits, a lot of scholarships and things like that go back to the donator because it's to cover the school needs. Are you okay with the school refunding the individual that money if their benefit covers it, which helps relieve some burden off their life of paying their rent, utilities, etc.? You know what I mean? They could have their disabilities are bothering them. They have to go to all these doctor's appointments. School could be a struggle. Work might be a struggle. They might only be able to go to work. Are you okay with that money going to them? And he's like, absolutely. So it's a scholarship that we developed at the college. It's fucking awesome.
It's almost like having a post 9/11 GI Bill.
Yeah.
But unofficially. So yeah,
but it's in addition to. Which is even better.
Yeah. So now you landed yourself as the outdoor director. So this means outdoor manager. You're right. So I take it you manage just the aquatic shit.
Currently, those are the things that I have, but I'm in the process of setting up fishing trips. I'm going to be working with a couple of different programs that are nationally based. More to come on that because that's still in the works. So I don't want to say 100%, but there's different fishing organizations that, you know, we can get people involved with and do events for fishing trips and stuff like that, both land and sea. I'm working on some tubing trips. I'm currently working on one in my area, New Jersey, and then one for Texas because that's where our headquarters is. and then
Tubing trips. You mean
up
like
ideas with that.
like river floating?
Yeah.
We have that up here. It's funny you
Yeah.
say that because at the end of July I'm going fucking Apple River, and they have river tubing there too. Like it's like one of my favorite fucking things to do in the summer is just to hang back on a tube and float. My wife hates it. She hates water though.
But yeah, so my whole job here is to do outdoor events. I mean, if it's hunting, it's camping, it's hiking, it's fishing, it's, you know, going to like the aquarium to do scuba diving or regular scuba diving trips. Wintertime, I hope to find some stuff to do like skiing, snowboarding, snow tubing, whatever. If it's outdoors, that's what I am in control of. And I'm always looking for ideas. So
I got some.
I'm asking people, like, if you got ideas, send them my way. You could reach out to me on Discord. And I believe I'm going to have the outdoor at Regiment GG email address soon.
So I'm big into hunting. That's kind of my thing. Hunting and hiking. Those are the two things that I do a lot. Hunting, I was thinking, why the fuck, our headquarters is in Texas. Why don't we have an outdoor event for pig hunting? You know, get on the fucking back of a truck, shooting at pigs with full auto stuff. You know, fucking 50 cals, miniguns, M4s and shit with suppressors, nods, and all that shit. Just running down pigs and stuff. I'm surprised that we have not yet coordinated something like that in Texas.
It's finding the resource. It's not the logistics of the actual items, because people have plenty. We all know we have plenty of shit. And some of us may have some things we're not supposed to have either. But it's finding the connection of somebody that may have a property in Texas, right? Like, so I can give you an example of a fly fishing organization I was part of, Project Healing Waters. Have you guys heard of that?
Mm-mm.
I think I have.
So
They do like
teach
trout fishing and
veterans,
shit, right?
huh?
They do like fly fishing and stuff.
Yeah, they teach you how to tie flies, how to build your own rods. They provide you all the equipment. They take you out fly fishing different places locally. They do state, they do regional and national trips. So a couple years back, I didn't get to go on this one, but my director went and they went out to Texas. And the guy that has a river going through his fucking ranch, and all I'm thinking in my head is Yellowstone, because the dude had like a river going through the ranch in the Yellowstone show. And they're telling me that this guy was just like, I want to invite you guys back to do some wild game hunting and in the fall. Like, come back here. I'll put you guys up. I have cabins all over my property. He's like, I'll staff them with butler. I'll get you all an individual personal chef. He's like, and you guys could just come hunt exotic game on my property. And they're like, oh, sure. And they thought nothing would come of it. It fucking happened. This guy had a dozen veterans come out to Texas. He flew in fucking wild game from Africa.
Jesus,
and they
fuck.
hunted on his ranch. We're talking about kudus, gazelles, things like that, and just brought it onto his property and just let people have at it for a week.
That's one of those things I didn't even know money could buy, is to just ship in wild game, be like, drop them on my property, we're going to go hunt them.
It's fucking crazy. So it's finding a connection like that where we could find somebody that has the property and it's just like, do your thing.
The other thing was elk hunts. So I know that out west there's a lot of elk hunting. The only thing is that it's fucking expensive. So getting an elk tag itself is like you're looking at $1,000 for the tag, and the tag expires every year. So it's like you hope to God you get an elk. And elk hunting is not an easy thing to do. You got to track it, and it's not a small animal. So like often you're tracking that motherfucker for a while, and when you finally kill it, you basically are taking it out in pieces and hauling it back to wherever you're hauling it back to. So like, but guided hunts, there's a lot of guided hunts that will do that kind of stuff. I would like to see us do some like really cool guided hunting for big game like that out west. That'd be pretty awesome. I want to fucking hunt elk so goddamn bad. And then there's hiking, right? So hiking happens everywhere. Wisconsin has a lot of hiking, That was one of the things that I kept suggesting in outdoors. Like, how come we don't have like a hunting, camping, any kind of that kind of stuff for up in the Midwest? Everything happens away from here. You know, it'd be nice to see something locally happen near Wisconsin. A lot of people, like, because even Chris said, like, what the fuck's in Wisconsin? I'm like, a lot more than you think. Like, he didn't even know. His first time in Wisconsin was in Milwaukee. And every time I bring up Wisconsin, he's just like, what's up there, though? I'm like, a lot, dude. There's a lot of outdoor shit that happens up there. We got Door County. We got northern Wisconsin, close to the Michigan border, where it's like very hilly, very woodsy, outdoors, trails, rivers, rock faces, lakes. You got the peninsula, which has like one of the darkest national forests in the country, where you can go up there and see the northern lights and shit. Because it's like,
sweet as fuck.
It's super, super dark up there. Because there's it's far away. It's in the peninsula, so it's far away from any kind of major city. So like the closest city is like, it's not even a city. It's like Door County itself is like a fishing town. It's like a harbor town. So it's not very big. The light pollution's low. So the national forest that's up there on the peninsula is extremely dark at night. And I've been there at night. It's fucking eerie. You can't see shit. You turn the lights off, you can put your hand in front of your face and can't see shit. But yeah, I'd like to see us do more stuff like that, especially the hunting, man. Like I wanna. And then another outdoor thing, sport shooting. I'm surprised we haven't done any sport shooting, like competition type sport shooting, 3-gun competitions, all that stuff.
I'd love to see. I'm a big golfer, like a veterans golf tournament kind of deal, whether it be like a scramble or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Just try to find a course that would, you know, be willing to put up their course for a day or whatever, half day or something, and just go out and either play 9-18 holes.
Interestingly enough, I'm gonna double check on this, but I remember a few years back, there's a really fucking famous golf course in Georgia, Augusta.
Oh yeah.
And it's like members only. Like it's super high end. Like you got to have a lot of money to get in, right? Yeah, you got to have a lot of money to get on that golf course, but supposedly they will host veteran golf outings and stuff like that, no cost to veterans.
You fucking serious?
Yeah. So I have that written down. I'm going to check on that. But I do know 100%. So in my state, we have 2 VA hospitals. One's in East Orange, which is closer to New York City, and one is Lyons, which is about 5 miles from my house. There's an entire golf course on the Lyons campus, 100% free for veterans.
That's
I know it's a little far away from where you are, but
there's a golf course at a VA.
Yep.
What the fuck?
That's fucking sweet.
I got the Navy base at mine.
Yeah. So there's an entire golf course up here. It's free for veterans. So it's one of those things where like I guarantee you I could do a golf something at least here. And that's the problem with me right now is that because I'm based here in New Jersey and I have a family of an autistic little girl, it's difficult for me to get outside of this area. So it's trying to find these things and do this remotely. It's difficult, but I don't quit. So I can make it happen. I just need other people to help bridge those connections.
Yeah. Especially with like a place like Augusta. If you're looking at like getting something coordinated with Augusta, you would need someone that you can rely on to help set that up and actually be there for the event and all that stuff. So, dude, that would be, God, you know, a high-end golf course like
Gary
that.
Sinise. Call me Gary Sinise.
Dude, like, it's just like, all I can think of is like Augusta where the Masters is hosted and shit. And like, you just got a bunch of drunk, pissed off veterans playing fucking golf together. And meanwhile, you have like Tiger Woods and shit golfs there and like all these upstanding citizens of society, and then you just got us derelicts out there just drinking, like, you know, driving on golf carts, smoking stogies, just like I fucking suck at this shit, like, you know, just divot, and like it's just like tearing up their fucking beautiful golf course.
I could see the news article of drunk individuals that smelled like tobacco and gunpowder.
I will say
wearing Ranger panties and silkies running amok on the Augusta golf course.
I will say this, like, based off of the regiment events that I've gone to, when you get a bunch of us and you get alcohol involved, it don't change much from what it's like being active duty. I'm not gonna lie. Like, you get a bunch of fucking military personnel sauced up in the same place, it gets crazy sometimes. It like things happen, you know.
That's where those like briefs before these kind of events always come in. They're like, hey, we have a great opportunity here. We want to do it again in the future. Let's, you know, at least for golf, it's like, let's not destroy the greens. Don't be driving your fucking cart places like that you shouldn't be.
The only
have fun.
Don't
get weird.
The only guarantee outside of death and taxes is that if you get a bunch of drunk vets together, something's gonna happen. You know, it's like the only other thing that's like 100%, it's gonna happen. IW hikes are a good example, right? So, and it's always the fucking Marines that do this, but like, there's always one guy or two that get a little too saucy during the hike and do something that they shouldn't have done. The first hike I ever went to, obviously they're like saying, well, we don't encourage drinking, but if you're going to do it, then we can't really stop you. These Marines showed up with fucking liquor, like Jack and Coke in their Camelbacks.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't even make it a mile on the hike. Dude was fucked. He jumped into the lake. Not only did he jump into the lake, he jumped into the dog beach where the dogs go, and jumped into that water. Now, the Lake Michigan outside of Chicago is nasty. Do not get in that fucking water. Let alone you jump into the water where all these dogs are pissing and shitting. And we actually had to tell him that we had to kick him off the fucking hike because he was causing scenes and shit. And already people in Chicago hate us. So it's like, you know, fucking, you get a bunch of drunk vets together and it's like something's going to happen, and it's going to happen in a place where people already look down upon us, you know? But yeah, to the extent of it, that's pretty much the extent of that part. But yeah, getting us into golf outing would be pretty cool. Shooting events, that would also be really fucking awesome.
Yeah, and tactical sports too, paintball, airsoft, stuff like that.
Yeah, airsoft. I'm a fucking airsofty, bro. I fucking spent way too much money on it. I had a lot of money when I got out of the Army, and I blew over $1,000 on one airsoft gun that I still have.
You know paintball at all?
No.
Have you ever? So, can't remember the year. It's either PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2. So whatever those eras, right? There was a guy that put out. Oh, it was Xbox. The Xbox, actually. Greg Hastings Pro Paintball Tournament was a video game for Xbox. I know Greg Hastings. He's like a very well-known name in the paintball scene. So that I have an opportunity to connect with him to probably put something together as far as paintball goes. So that would be really awesome.
That would be awesome. What were you gonna say? You were saying something, weren't you, Blake?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I just found looking at the golf thing, we brought up Augusta. Just found there's a thing called VGA, Veteran Golfers Association. It says here, annually the VGA hosts more than 1,300 local tournaments across the country that accumulate into a VGA National Championship each fall.
No shit.
So that's fucking cool. So it's just vets going out playing and then trying to qualify for the championship. Which I had no idea about this. This is sweet. Look what happens whenever you are like, hey, this would be cool, and then you actually fucking Google it.
It's almost like the internet's like at your fingertips at all times. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Every time I do the same shit. I'm like, I ask a question. I'm like, I say this as if Google's not right here in front of me.
This is why I love Regiment. This right here, right? Because I knew something, said it to you. You're like, no fucking way. Went and looked for it. Holy shit, it's fucking real, right? Like the amount of knowledge in Regiment and everybody bringing something different to the table. If we all share this fucking shit, do you know how fucking powerful that is? And that's why I like Regiment, because everybody has something different to bring to the fucking table, a different set of knowledge, and when we share it, it's incredible.
Yeah, that's why our the VA section that we have is pretty good too. So, and we thank you, Blackjack, for that. We love you, even though everyone fucking thinks that I'm you and that you're me. They get our names mixed up. They picked me up from the airport and like, yeah, I just picked up Blackjack, and like in the text message, I'm like, in Blackjack's like, I don't show up till tomorrow, and I'm like, they literally fucking on every meeting they mix me and him up, and I'm like, we don't look anything alike either. That's the other thing.
Change your name to Uncle Charlie.
Yeah, you and this Uncle Charlie shit, man. He calls me Uncle Charlie, and like what is the reason why that I look and sound like your Uncle Charlie?
Not look, but I was doing something and he popped into one of the Discord channels and was talking, and I was like, Uncle Charlie? Because it like sounds 100% like my uncle, and it fucked me up. So then after that I was doing schoolwork, and he came in the one time and he's like, hey Justin, how's your schoolwork going? I was like, what the fuck?
Is your uncle still alive?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was gonna say that would be even eerier if he wasn't, and I'm like in there just like sounding like your uncle, like just fucking like a voice from beyond the grave. It's funny because like I also sound like my grandpa, apparently. So like sometimes I like walk up to my mom and be like, Jody, and she's just
my
like,
mom's name.
Is it?
Yeah.
So like I'll just go up to her and say her name, and she's kind of, it gives her fucking chills and shit. Maybe we are related. Who knows?
I'm calling my mom and be like, do you have another son that you didn't tell me about?
Oh God! I tell my mom, do you have another son that I don't know about? I know am I truly the firstborn? Am I? How old are you?
42.
Okay, so you're older than my mom would have had to have been like 15 if she had you, or 14.
Okay.
Not possible.
It's not impossible, but it also raised some fucking questions. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Jerry.
Oh my God. Anyway, so actually, do you have anything? Do you have anything else you want to announce?
Nope. That's it. That's all I got for now as far as events that are lined up. Like I said, if anybody has anything that they're interested in doing.
Absolutely. If any of you guys that are watching this have any kind of like outdoorsy thing that you want to suggest to the Regiment Outdoors, it's funny. You react to the roll in the Discord, you can have access to the Regiment Outdoors channel so that you can go in there and make suggestions for the outdoor people. And that way they can, help with outdoor things. Stuff like that.
Absolutely.
It'd be really cool. I want to see. I remember when Regiment Outdoors was first ever announced, and it was like years ago, and nothing ever happened with it. And I was just like kind of bummed because I'm like, there's like so much potential there for stuff. So much. There's so many things. Like I get it. Like Regiment is like our roots are founded in gaming, but let's be honest. When it comes to our own sanity and mental health, sitting around and playing video games at some point becomes an issue. Like it just becomes, you learn to become a recluse from that, and it's all well and good, but like you need, like the term go out and touch grass. It's actually like, hey, like we're saying it for like your sanity and your health, like you got to go outside. I tend to fall victim of this sometimes of like, I'll just recluse myself in, but once in a while I just need to get the fuck out of the house and actually like be out of the house. And that's why I'm going camping at the end of next month. But I wanted to do more like the hikes and stuff. Like, could you imagine if we can get some overseas hikes or some shit like in the Rockies, or go to Norway or something fucking crazy like that? That'd be fucking sick. I don't think that'll ever happen, but the Norway shit. Like, hey Chris, can you pay for some vets to go to fucking Norway? Like, he'd be like, what the fuck did you say? So, all right, let's wrap this up so that you can go back to Diablo. I can eat and play Icarus. You can go on your game date with Kate Blake. What are you playing? You're playing. What's it called?
Palia.
Palia. Yeah, my wife played. I thought, okay, I knew it started with a P, and I knew it wasn't Pal World. So, but yes. Besides Diablo, what are you playing lately?
I play a lot of Fortnite.
Oh, you're one of those. I'm just kidding.
Don't hate. I only play Zero Build. I don't play that fucking weird shit.
What?
I said I only play Zero Build.
Oh, dude, I can't get into fucking Fortnite, man. It's just, I don't know. Maybe it just feels too catered towards people not my age that I just don't enjoy it. I'm more of like a tactical shooter, survival. Blake's more into the horror shit and tactical
I've
shooter.
been playing Phasmophobia.
Phasmophobia is phenomenal. I've got hours into that game.
What's
It's
the
fucking ridiculous.
What's that fucking game that you had me just get?
Scar Ritual.
Yeah. That
Little
was
zombies.
It was
type,
like it's like
type
COD
game. It's
zombies
pretty cool.
without the zombies, and there's puzzles and shit. So
We started playing Phasmophobia and immediately loading into the first room. Just the fucking looking down and up and watching somebody else is fucking great because they bend at like a 90-degree angle backwards and their hands are like,
It's so
There's
funny.
it's so funny.
They have
Yeah,
a VR plug for it too.
Oh.
Playing that game in VR is fucking nuts because like
Oh, dude,
you get
I'd
enough
die.
hours into it, it's not that scary anymore. And then I put when I got a VR headset, I plugged that in, put it on. I was like, oh my god, this is fucked up.
it amplifies VR. That's why I love VR. Like the only thing is battery life sucks, but VR in certain environments is like it elevates it. You know, like No Man's Sky, open world survival space adventure game. Apparently that has fucking VR compatibility, and you can do things in the game VR that you can't do playing normally. You can manipulate your arms and move all in weird ways that other people can't. But other people, but it's because it's crossplay. Other people on console and PC can see you, and you're in VR playing with console and PC people. So like, except you're more immersed than they are. That's the only difference. And then horror games.
Have you played it?
No Man's Sky?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. I
You know
had
about the new game?
Light No Fire.
Yo, I'm so excited.
I can't wait for that either. I was thinking about I was thinking about that yesterday. I'm like, when is that coming out?
I'm so pumped, dude. It's supposed to be the end of the year.
Is it really?
Yep.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Because they announced it at the thing that they were whatever. There was some live event on Kick that they did, and they announced it.
Yeah, they did. It was like what, several months ago when they announced it, and I saw it, and they did it right this time by like it's just one planet, but it's procedurally generated one planet. It's basically No Man's Skyrim is what everyone's calling it.
Yeah. And the dev was like, it's 5 times bigger than No Man's Sky.
No fucking way.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Because that No Man's Sky has 18 quintillion fucking planets that are fully explorable.
Yeah, he said it's 5 times bigger than No Man's Sky. And then the broadcaster made a joke and he's like, why does this guy always have to go bigger?
I hope that they don't I hope they learn from their mistake at launch in No Man's Sky and don't do what they did again. Have all these promises, fail to deliver, wide as an ocean, deep as a puddle. You know, bigger isn't always better. I mean, like No Man's Sky, even though it's way better now than it was when it first launched, you tend to start seeing the same shit. You know, the farther into other planets you go, it's like, okay, it's just a different planet that, you know, has the same things on it.
Yeah.
And the whole quest is to get to the center of the universe, which you can do, but you could play that game for the rest of your life and never finish it. Never like 100% the game.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been playing Diablo, Fortnite. I do play COD occasionally. It's really just zombies or Warzone. Starting playing Destiny again, Phasmophobia, which is great. We're still learning. I play with a group of regiment members generally. We're gonna actually start playing the online version of Cards Against Humanity, like live stream. Because I think it'll be an absolute fucking shit show. I'm like, we have to combine the veteran deck and the dead baby deck because it'll be absolutely hilarious. So like, we're gonna do that. That's gonna be fucking fun. I think you can have like 20 fucking people. So if we do it, if you guys ever want to fucking join, I'll let you know when we're doing it.
Fuck
That'd be
yeah.
fucking sweet.
What else? We had a list of fucking games that we were talking about. Oh, just like party games. You know what I mean? Like Fallout Guys or Fall Guys, things like that. But I am looking forward to Light No Fire. Absolutely. The only other game that I know of that's coming out that I'm looking forward to is Soul Frame. You know about that?
Oh, yes.
Warframe, the new Warframe, but it's Soulframe. It's a fantasy version. It's good, dude. If you haven't seen the trailer for it, it's fucking incredible. But that won't be out till next year. And then the thing that's supposedly quotation is the reboot of the Legacy of Kain games and Soul Reaver.
What? They're actually...
Yeah, so
that's for sure?
So Crystal Dynamics, the original owners of the games.
Oh no,
I'm part of a I'm part of a Facebook group called Legacy of Kain, fans of Legacy of Kain, and they actually reached out to our Facebook group and they did a survey with us and asked us like what we would want in a sequel series and a prequel series of the original games, and if we would like a reboot, remaster, or remake of the current library of their games. And we sent it to them and they came back and they said, this is phenomenal information for us to work off of. So we know that some things in the works, but there's nothing 100% confirmed, because why the fuck would we get a survey?
Hey, listen, if the Avengers is any kind of fucking thing to let you know about Crystal Dynamics, it's that they might actually drop the ball on that one, unfortunately. I hope not, though.
Supposedly, what we know is at the end of the survey, it said Crystal Dynamics and Square Enix.
Well, yeah, Square Enix owns them.
Yeah.
They're the publisher.
But Square Enix, great fucking devs, dude. Awesome team. They put out solid games.
I don't agree. They used to. Lately, they haven't.
All the Final Fantasy games, man.
That's it, though. That's all. That's all. Like, everything else has been kind of like bad. Like Avengers, pretty shit. Square Enix has kind of had a pretty rough track record the last several years, honestly, besides the Final Fantasy games.
Well, I mean, we can say that anything that's DC based that's come out in the last like 2 decades, not really that great. Movies, games.
Avengers is Marvel. Avengers is Marvel.
Is Avengers, yeah. I'm thinking Justice League.
Oh, no, you're thinking of Suicide Squad, and that was Warner Brothers and Rocksteady.
Yeah.
But, all right, let's wrap this up, gentlemen. We all have things that we want to do. I'm craving some survival right now. My body craves it badly.
What are you playing?
Icarus.
What is that?
It's a survival game. It's basically Australia the game. Like you're basically, the plot is you're on a terraformed planet, and right now, like the world that I'm playing on, there's like 3 different ways. There's outposts, which is like missions, and then there's missions, and each of the missions are like, and then there's a third one called open world, which is open world survival, where you can do outposts and missions. These other game modes are like, you have a certain amount of time to do the missions. They're like, imagine extraction games like Escape from Tarkov and Hunt Showdown, except instead of like having like a 40-minute to an hour timer, you have days to complete it and extract, and you have to survive during that. But then there's the open world survival, which is consistently persistent, and you just build upon that. And the base game is basically just regular creatures with a couple of alien likes, and everything in the game wants to fucking kill you, except for deer and rabbits. That's the only thing that won't try to kill you. The new expansion they just put out, which is their Prometheus, which is basically, that one is all altered creatures, aliens, and different biomes. It's super grindy, super fun survival game. That's what I've been playing. So
Nice.
all right, guys. Well, listen, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Thanks, Justin, for hanging out with us today. And I'll be sure to put all that stuff about the outdoor stuff in the description, especially the whale shark, the sign up and everything. So do you want me to put that Google Doc on the description too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fuck yeah. So don't forget to like the video, share it, comment down below, and sign up for the whale shark thing if you are a vet and you want to go swim with the sharks. Or if you just want a free scuba license and you're in Florida or Texas, do that too. So, all right, guys. Well, we'll catch you later. Don't leave, Justin. Don't leave yet. So, anyway, we'll catch you guys later. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Bye.
See y'all.